Fist for Life Mixed Martial Arts students. April 1st, Wednesday, April 1st, technical training for today. We're going to piggyback on what we left off yesterday, where we focus on basic hand striking and talk about striking defense. You know, it's one thing to be able to dish it out, but more importantly is how to defend against somebody being offensive towards you, someone assaulting you with striking, and how you can make the conscious choice not to strike back and ultimately be able to neutralize the attack and the assault coming in. Now, let me emphasize for technical training today, our very first self-defense concept that we stress for beginners is to utilize what is naturally and essential to you as functioning human being, and that's mobility. Just move out of the way of danger, right? Mobility. So when we talk about striking, I stress footwork so much, and of course, even just awareness in terms of one-step mobility, right? One-step evasive action. So that's kind of drill number one for today. I just want you to sit in a neutral stance just like this, set the timer for a couple of minutes, and just practice stepping back and to the side, both sides, straight back as well, straight side to side, forward and to the side as well. Again, just imagine if something's coming from a back angle and you're going to evade. Once again, just utilizing mobility to defend, to get out of the way of danger. Very simple drill, right? Neutral stance, one-step evasion moves. Very, very simple. From there, once again, understanding that if we're dealing with somebody attacking us, we use a language in our Shaolin tradition, our Kung Fu tradition, we call bridging, right? Bridging, meaning that we are seeing the space. We have to cross over the space. The space is the bridge, and we have to cross that space. Or what's coming towards us is crossing the space, and therefore, we have to deal with that. So we have, of course, numerous hand methods or techniques that we utilize, many ways that we can neutralize attacks. We're going to keep it simple today, focusing on beginner techniques that we express, starting with spearhand defense skills and cover defense skills. Your spearhand defense is dealing with the long range. When the thread, you recognize the thread is already, it's at 2 arms length or more, and they aggressively assault, moving in with a strike, you can occupy the space. That's what you're basically doing by projecting the limb out like a spear, occupying the space so that whatever crosses, you have that arm out there to catch or dissipate the energy. Now, we also want to use footwork. So from a side view, when I express my spearhand, I practice this, I want to step, slide back. Step, slide back. Step, slide back. Okay? Step, slide back. Evade and use that spearhand. Drill it. 30 seconds, 1 minute. Practice that spearhand, because what we're simulating is, once again, somebody's aggressively attacking, occupying space, getting some hands out there in front to act as that bridge, right, to catch what's coming in, to connect, and ultimately be able to deal with that space, being able to cross that space. Now, we call that closing the gap. Okay? For us to get into our wrestling and grappling mode, right, in order for me to capture and control somebody, I have to be able to close the gap. And I want to be able to do so and minimize the risk of getting smashed while I close the gap. So from the spearhand defense, we're going to cover. Okay? Spearhand cover. Spearhand cover. Start working that cover. Cover in the front, cover on the side, cover on the side. Drill your cover defense hand. Very, very simple. Once again, from heaven posture, cover in the front. We're going to put those palms on the forehead, right? Arms in tight. Covering in the front so there's no space. Strong frame. And then cover on the side, nice and tight, almost grabbing behind the ear. Remember, no gap here. Nice and tight against the face where your elbow's almost right in front of your nose, center. Practice those covering moves. Cover, cover, cover. Very simple, 30 seconds, 1 minute. Then we're going to put it together in a drill. We're going to put together the spearhand, the cover, and mobility in closing the gap. Okay, we're going to put the things together and go from heaven to earth, simulating that an assault, neutralizing the assault, closing the gap, and ultimately getting into clinch, right? So we're going to go long range neutralization, crossing the space, closing the gap, covering, using our spear hand to deal with the long range to neutralize, covering, crossing the space so we cover, minimize risk of getting smashed, and then ultimately capturing and controlling with the clinch. So we're going to simulate it like this. Spearhand, spearhand, cover, close the gap, simulate a clinch. Get low, get a low base. Go from heaven to earth posture. Just like we did for warm-up, changing levels. So heaven, 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 cover, close the gap, go into earth. That could even be a takedown, if you want to think about it that way in terms of another earth skill. If you're a little more advanced and you can even change levels. Maybe you want to go down into earth walk position, follow through for a shoot, simulating a takedown. That could work too, right? So again, if you want to add to it, you go like this: spearhand, spearhand, cover, close the gap, change levels, earth walk, like you're doing a takedown. Once again, practicing the same concept, but taking it a little step further. Closing the gap, utilizing mobility, neutralizing the assault, and crossing the space, minimizing the risk of getting hurt. That's your technical focus for today, transitioning into the new month where we're going to focus more on earth skills, but we got to get there, right, from heaven to earth. That's the path. Thank you very much for your attention, putting in your time. Get your time in today at home. Once again, find a safe space to practice. We'll see you tomorrow.